Hi guys, so about a month ago I had a go at hydro dipping miniatures for the first time, and well, yeah, really enjoyed it. Like a bit of a big kid, to be honest. Trying out something new, something fun, and a great way of, well, having a go at making camouflage is what I kind of used it for in the last one. And I really wanted an excuse to, well, do some more hydro dipping. And a few weeks ago my son and I played a game of Modulork. Great little game, obviously, as it kind of implies, you're playing orcs against orcs, which is just really cool. And we certainly had a lot of fun playing it. There's loads of links down below, guys, to where you can get the STLs, play the games, and all that rest of the stuff. But yeah, when we were playing, we did sort of mention that you can play tanks. And Josh, my son, yeah, really liked that idea. So that's why we're here. And yeah, printing off loads of cool looking tanks. So again, these are all by Mr. Modulork. Yeah, I absolutely love his stuff, as all he does is orcs and the like. So yeah, lots of variety of obviously people, poses, weapons, all the kind of gear they use, but yeah, also vehicles. And in this case I'm using the Gobbo tanks just because these are, well, small and cute, and just kind of silly looking, but I love them. And the great thing with these tanks is they're very modular. So as you can see, I've got loads of parts on here. I'm literally going to mix and match everything, and then just build tanks to how I kind of want. So as you can see, I'm going to use the GKTWO, and yeah, I can get a lot of tanks on there in one go, which is just awesome. And yeah, guys, if you're looking for a 3D printer, without a shadow of a doubt, this has got to be one of the best ones out there on the market. It's a nice, decent sized build plate on it, so it's kind of a mid-range one, so you can get a lot of miniatures or a large miniature on this in one go. But obviously for me, yeah, in the UK, the weather's really cold, and I've got this in a hallway. And this hallway at night time, it drops below zero, and that's generally when I sort of print things off, is at night time. So this thing, obviously, say, got a nice sort of build volume. It's got great, it's 8K, so it's a really nice fine detail. But yeah, the thing that I love most about this is it's a heated bed to this, which means it'll always heat up the resin. So yeah, so the resin is at the right temperature, so you don't get any fails, which is just awesome. So yeah, guys, if you've got somewhere like a shed or garage or somewhere where you're not going to be able to keep warm, yeah, this is the kind of printer you really need to get. Yeah, links down below, guys. I say I've got an affiliate link with them, which means it doesn't cost you anything, but yeah, I get a few pennies if you guys buy stuff. So yeah, cheers guys if you do buy anything, much appreciated. So we've got the awesome printer, now we just need some resin to go with this one. And the one that I'm using at the moment, which I really like, is by Siraya Tech. And again, yeah, so on this one it does sort of say what temperature the resin needs to be at. And it's saying at least 20 degrees, which, yeah, at the moment, my corridor certainly isn't at that temperature. So yeah, this resin, use it quite a lot on quite a, well, variety of things, from small items to larger items. And yeah, it's coming out really well. And I believe they have got a few new ones, new types of resin that I should be getting and trying out soon. So I'll let you know how I get on with them ones as well, guys. So yeah, usual thing, just fill it up with resin, push a few buttons, and away she pops. And then in next to no time, I've got loads and loads of lovely little bits and pieces to, well, to make up a squad of tanks. So the plan here is, I'm going to have 6 tanks, my son's going to have 6 tanks, and yeah, we're going to do tank battles, which is just really cool. So I've got my 6, which obviously I'm going to assemble and paint, but yeah, my son is going to assemble and, well, he says he's going to paint his own. Time will tell. I reckon he may start and I might need to finish it, but yeah, so we're going to have 2 sets of 6 tanks that should look, yeah, pretty different from each other. And I say these are great because they have a nice little loadout here of different kind of like gun sort of weapons, and little extra bits you can stick on the sides, different kind of tank treads, wheels, turrets, yeah, all that kind of stuff. So lots of fun, yeah, making up the tanks you want. And I say, because these are the sort of the Gobbo ones, yeah, they are sort of squat and silly, which is just perfect. And then it's simply a case of, yeah, just gluing all the bits together. Obviously using super glue here, but the one I have is it's a very cheap one. Obviously it's a super glue, but I think it does say it can take between 5 and 20 seconds to cure or harden. So don't forget to check out the Modulork game down below, guys. There's a link to everything you need to know to sort of play the game, which is pretty cool. So literally all these tanks do have kind of different stats, as the way the gameplay is for Modulork, you sort of get your basic sort of well, person or tank, but then you kit it out with a whole variety of weapons, explosives, different kind of tracks, like obviously the speed and all the rest of it. And yes, there's a lot of versatility there, which is just awesome. So for the tanks, yeah, I didn't really fancy just sort of gluing the turret down. I really like the idea of having it so it can, well, so it can swivel around, which would be pretty cool. So to do that, it's just a case of putting magnets in the actual tank bit itself and the turret. But as you can see, I'm sort of filling this up with a bit of paper, just because I am then going to stick some filler in the top and then put the magnets, obviously, in that. But yeah, just because I wanted to fill out the tank a little bit of paper in there. And then using my good old magnet stick, obviously this, well, it did have two ends, it kind of snapped. So basically it just lets me know that one end is, well, obviously magnets have two ends or two sides, don't they? So they attack and repel each other. So yeah, my little stick here lets me know which colour I need to put into which one. And then yeah, then it's a case of obviously keeping them nice and sanded. Waffle. Who knows what I'm trying to say sometimes, but well, it's funny, so I'm going to leave that bit in there. So yeah, they've got a magnet in the actual tank. Now I need to put one in the turret. So it's a case of making sure it's lovely and flat. So obviously it'll well, it'll attach nicely. And then yeah, using my little hand drill here, simply drill an appropriate hole. So I think the magnets I'm using, just in case anyone wants to know, are 3mm by 2mm. So these are quite diddy, but obviously you can get 1mm by 1mm, which is just nuts. So yeah, here's my little stick. Say it's kind of broke in half, but it just makes things easier when you're using two magnets, just to make sure I'm putting the right magnet into each part. And yeah, and obviously they help slot things in, because these little magnets are tricky little suckers. And as you can see, sometimes they do kind of turn it into, well, a bit of a game. I think the hole is just a little bit too wide, which is why the magnet kept sort of like trying to pop back out. But perseverance, yeah, we get there in the end. And then it's just a case of putting on the rest of the little bits and pieces that sort of go around the tanks. And so this is where you can go nuts, because you can just print off an absolute shed load of stuff. And I say you can print off like more weapons and bits and bobs to put on these. I've kept them nice and simple really, so they do look like, well, like little tanks, I guess. But yeah, so I just love how these look. The versatility and the fact that you can just make these all look so different from each other. I say, as of this time I'm recording this video, my son hasn't quite finished assembling all of his yet. But yeah, he is doing them, well, weird and wacky ways. And when he does eventually do them, I'll take some pictures and I'll post them, well, post them somewhere. So the guns these ones came with were relatively small. So again, the joy of a 3D printer. I took one of the guns and I blew it up by about 200-300%, just to make it, well, as you can see, a lot larger. Because yeah, I want these tanks to look almost silly. Well, they look silly anyway. But yeah, the good old gun on the front, perfect. And there we go. Yeah. Although for some reason I'm getting very much Dalek vibes from this. Exterminate. But yeah, love it. And I say the fact they all are a little bit different. As you can see, a few of them have got a couple of little gobbos in there looking at their turrets. But yeah, I just think these are so cool. And the fact that me and my son can play a game with these is just great. As I say, my son does love all the stuff that I kind of make and paint and all the rest of it. And yeah, say some of the games, I will obviously simplify them down a little bit, just make it easier, well, for him and for me. But yeah, having little tank wars, yeah, lots of fun, and it gets everyone away from the screen for a bit, which is pretty cool. So usual thing, yeah, I've got these on the my little paint and handles. I'm going to paint the turrets separately. So yeah, cunning plan of just having that attached, well, via a magnet, which is pretty cool. So yeah, painting these, I say the hydro dipping, I've only done it once before. It didn't come out too bad. Like a lot of things, yeah, practice makes perfect, so you can get better at it. But yeah, again, it is just so much fun. Such a simple idea. So obviously this one, I've primed them with a white primer, just because, well, if you use black, the colours just won't show through very well at all. So yeah, starting with a nice, clean, clear base. So yes, mine and my son's are going to be different colours. I love orange, but I haven't got an orange, but I've got a yellow, which is almost orangey looking. So I'm going to use that and a bit of the black there, and that's going to be my sort of camouflage. So the marble inks that I've got say to use cold water. I've looked online and I know some of these kind of like marbling inks you need to use warm water, so always check which ones, well, what you need to use. And yeah, you get the cold water there, and it's just a case of dropping in the ink. Obviously it sort of settles on the top, which is great, but then you can mix them in together. So it's a case of dropping one in and then doing the other one, well, inside the first drops. And yeah, you obviously get some weird and wacky patterns. So I'm using my little, it's a little screwdriver, and I'm using that just to sort of mix the two in, but to try and get, say, it's the camouflage look is what I'm going for. Even though obviously this is going to be an orange and black, so the camouflage may not work in most areas. But yeah, so it's a case of mixing it in, but then sometimes adding in more inks, because the thing you don't want as well is the gaps, and you can see quite a few gaps where there's like the yellow ink and black ink. So yeah, I did put loads more in, well, off camera. And then yeah, it is so simple, just dip the things in. This is the other good reason, obviously, having the painting handle with that little bar in it. It just means that the vehicle's away from, well, my fingers, because this stuff, yeah, if you get it on you, yeah, give it a wash straight away, because it'll just stick to anything. And there we go. Yeah, love it. Let's say quick, simple, bit of camouflage look. Obviously I do give these a bit more painting, well, a bit later on in the video, but as a sort of an initial basic look, yeah, I just love how it comes out. So much fun as well. And then it's simply a case of cleaning out the remainder of the stuff in the cold water there. So this stuff kind of like sticks to anything, so you can put a little stick in there or whatever it is you want, twirl it around, a bit like sort of digging for candy floss, I guess. And yeah, you can just sort of get all the bits out, and then it's ready to sort of put more ink in and to move on and do the next one. So I got these inks off Amazon. I'll leave a link down below. The pack I got only came with like 6 different colours, but obviously, yeah, you can look around. I'm sure you can get whatever colour you like. But say for me, this is, again, I love trying new things out, guys. So if there's anything you sort of see that I'm not doing, by all means let me know in the comments, just so I can go and, well, try and find someone who's done whatever it is. As yeah, that's what this hobby's all about, is sharing our experiences, what we've done, what we've made, and then yeah, everyone's sort of learning from each other and trying new techniques, and well, hopefully trying new techniques and maybe even bettering them, and making them different for, well, other people to try out as well. But yeah, I say for me, the big kid in me came out when doing this, because yeah, I'd never done it before. And then it's just a case of repeating the process, getting our little miniature and dipping him. Obviously that first one I did came out, well, super well. They don't always come out that good. As this one, yeah, this one definitely came out and had quite a few, well, a few gaps and areas. Obviously this does depend on the actual vehicle you're trying to sort of dip in. The smoother or the larger, smoother areas makes it a lot easier. When there's lots of like little nooks and crannies, that's when sometimes, yeah, the things don't get fully covered. So you'll see in a minute how I sort of get round the fact of there could be some sort of gaps there. So as much as you try and obviously get them in sort of level to try and get everything covered, yeah, as you can see, sometimes it doesn't always work, and in this one, quite a lot of white bits. So that's all the body's done, and now to do the yeah, the old turret bit. And again, trying to do it as neat as I can, slow as I can, just to make sure everything gets covered. And yeah, that's come out pretty cool. Obviously the little dude's got covered as well, so he will get painted yeah, later on. But the good thing with this is, yeah, because I didn't disturb it too much, I can get another one in there, which is really good. Because I say this stuff, it's not expensive, but it also goes pretty quick. So yeah, I had just enough to do, well, to do these 6 tanks, and then there's like literally a little bit of yellow left, lots of black left, which is good because obviously my son's going to be using that. I think he's going to go for blue tanks. I'm not sure. I can't actually remember. But yeah, I think he's going to be doing the same sort of thing. Good old bit of hydro dipping. But again, I'm going to let him do it all himself, so that should be fun. Obviously, I can't see him making any more of a mess than I have. So my first cunning plan was to see if I could, well, use the dipping ink stuff there, and see if I could repaint it. But this stuff, it dries kind of pretty quick, goes into obviously a film, So yeah, that didn't really kind of work. It didn't work at all because it wasn't like paint. But yeah, no, that's when I then thought, well, let's just use some normal paint. So yeah, using a bit of black, I'm literally going to go around any areas where obviously the dipping inks didn't sort of fit on. So there's quite a lot of bits, but because these tanks are kind of like camouflage looking, yeah, sort of dab in some black paint in all the little white areas, didn't distract it at all, and still made it look like it's well, kind of hiding in plain sight, I guess you'd say, with this this sort of thing. But yeah, again, love how it comes out, love the look of it, and say these tanks just fun, silly, and yeah, can't wait to get a game of these in. And then to sort of finish the tanks off, as these are, well, they are gobbo tanks, they need a bit of colour on them. So yeah, just going to go around splashes of colour here and there on any kind of like panels, or in this case, good old like orc sort of killer teeth, as well as painting the tank treads black, and obviously all the wheels and all that I've done like a grey. And then once that's all done, is then a case of going over the whole, well, all the bits and pieces I've just recently painted. Yeah, going over them with a bit of a wash, just to darken everything down and make it look a bit more, well, kind of used and worn and yeah, bleak looking. And yeah, so it didn't take too long at all to really sort of get these tanks done. So the hydro dipping is certainly a fun, quick way of getting some paint on miniatures, especially vehicles, obviously. And most definitely orcs and the gobbos and all the rest of it, because, well, these guys really don't care what their vehicles look like. Yeah, they're built for speed and power, rather than on the looks and all the rest of it. So yeah, you really can go as nuts as you want with any kind of orc vehicles, which I love. And then one last thing to do, and that's just to sort of go over the whole thing, bit of a dry brush with some silver, just so it catches all the edges, and obviously gives them that sort of little worn silver look. Yeah, as obviously these are meant to be sort of silver, well, metal tanks. Yeah, doing this just softens the whole thing and gives it a bit more of a yeah, bit more of a metallic feel and look to it all. And yeah, thoroughly enjoyed this painting process. Definitely minimum effort, maximum satisfaction, as I've certainly enjoyed making these. They look cool, and yeah, I can't wait to see what my son does with his. So don't forget to check out the links down below, guys, to Modulorca. Certainly a fun game, and I say the fact that you can play with tanks and stuff, yeah, certainly makes it well, going to be even funnier, which is pretty awesome. And yeah, again, if you're into a 3D printer, I can't recommend the Uniformation GK2 enough, as yeah, I'm not getting any failed prints, which is just awesome. And I say the temperature at the moment is just nuts. So even though I've got other 3D printers, that's kind of what I'm using most of at the moment, just because, well, everything comes out perfectly. So here's my team of tanks, but I guess what I should do is some sort of name for my crew or my gang here. Yeah, any ideas what I should call these guys? Let me know in the comments. As yeah, I think my gang should have a name, and then my son's gang, yeah, that should definitely have a name as well. But yeah, so for now, love these little things. Can't wait to play with them. Yeah, absolutely a joy. Okay, guys, there is another video on the screen. Give that a click, see more of what I do. Don't forget to hit that like button, leave some comments down below. And if you are new here, don't forget to subscribe, turn on the bell, as I do produce videos, well, every week. Also, a big thank you to my patrons and my monthly sponsors for keeping me going. Okay, guys, you take care. See you in the next one. Bye for now.